Have you ever noticed that the moment your life finally becomes quiet, your mind immediately begins to search for a problem? What if the peace you have been desperately begging for is the very thing you are secretly running away from? Most people do not realize that they are caught in a hidden trap. We spend our days exhausted, overwhelmed, and completely drained by the heavy demands of daily life. We pray for a break. We wait for the weekend. We wait for the vacation. We wait for the day when the endless list of obligations is finally empty. We tell ourselves that when the noise stops, we will finally be at ease. And yet, when that day arrives, a quiet, unexplainable panic sets in. Nothing dramatic is happening. There are no fires to put out, no urgent messages to answer, no immediate crisis to solve. But instead of feeling deep relief, you feel a creeping, uncomfortable restlessness. You feel like you are forgetting something. You feel an itch beneath your skin, quietly whispering that you are doing something wrong by simply being still. Here is the truth few people want to face. We have become addicted to the storm. Buddhist wisdom teaches us about the restless nature of the untrained mind. It is often called the monkey mind, constantly swinging from past regrets to future anxieties, terrified of simply resting on the quiet branch of the present moment. We have spent so much time surviving, fighting, and pushing forward that our minds have learned to associate intensity with safety. We falsely believe that if we are worrying, we are preparing. If we are stressed, we are productive. Imagine a small wooden boat that has spent its entire journey navigating brutal, violent weather. The sailor has learned exactly how to fight the crashing waves, how to brace for the howling wind, and how to survive against all odds. But one day, the boat drifts into perfectly calm, glass-like waters. The sky is clear, the breeze is gentle. Instead of resting, the sailor begins to panic. He paces the deck, checking the horizon for dark clouds, frantically searching for a hidden leak in the wood. He has become so accustomed to fighting the storm that he no longer knows how to exist in the calm. Think about your own life. How often do you unconsciously manufacture a small storm just to feel normal? You finally sit down to rest, and instead of enjoying the stillness, you immediately reach for a distraction, flooding your mind with the noise of others. You start overthinking a minor disagreement from days ago. You begin worrying about a situation that has not even happened yet. You create emotional friction because the empty space feels too vulnerable. Ask yourself, what are you afraid will happen if you simply let the moment be quiet? Are you truly looking for peace, or are you just looking for a more manageable kind of chaos? Stop, breathe, let that sink in. You do not need to constantly fix things to be worthy of existing. You do not have to chase a problem just to prove you are alive. The next time you feel that familiar urge to agitate your own mind, try this gentle practice. Pause. Observe the restlessness without following it. Let the feeling rise without making it your identity. You do not have to act on it. Just sit with the quiet and let the discomfort slowly wash over you, peak and pass. Because peace is not something you achieve by fighting, it is something you make space for. But letting go of the addiction to the storm is only the first step. To truly find joy in the stillness, we must first understand why the quiet scares us so much. And this is where the next truth begins. 2. The fear of empty space. What if the silence you are avoiding is actually the only place where true healing can begin? Here is a profound contradiction of our modern lives. We constantly complain about having no time, yet the moment we are given an empty hour, we rush to fill it. We put on background noise the second we walk into a quiet room. We scroll endlessly through our screens when waiting in line. We pack our schedules with obligations we do not even enjoy. We dread the empty evening, the quiet drive, the moment before sleep when the lights go out. We do everything we can to avoid meeting ourselves in the dark. Why? Because empty space feels dangerous. Buddhism reminds us that our suffering often comes from our inability to sit quietly with ourselves. In Buddhist thought, emptiness is not a terrifying void. It is a space of clarity and profound peace. But the untrained mind views emptiness as a threat. We mistakenly believe that if we are not actively engaged with something outside of ourselves, our lives are losing meaning. We use noise, motion, and worry as shields to protect us from what lies beneath the surface. Imagine a glass of muddy water that has been shaken violently. As long as you keep shaking the glass, the water remains entirely murky. You cannot see through it, but you feel productive because your hands are moving. However, the moment you set the glass down on a quiet table, gravity begins to work. Slowly, the heavy mud sinks to the bottom, and the water at the top becomes perfectly clear. The stillness did not create the mud. It simply allowed the dirt to settle, revealing exactly what was always there. This is why a quiet Sunday afternoon can suddenly feel so suffocating. It is why you might feel an intense wave of loneliness, sadness, or anxiety when you are finally alone, with no tasks to complete, and no one asking for your attention. The absence of distraction forces the mud to settle. The stillness forces you to face the emotional weights you have been carrying. You suddenly feel the grief you pushed aside. You feel the sting of the criticism you pretended to ignore. You feel the deep, quiet exhaustion of trying to hold everything together. Ask yourself, what feelings are you trying to outrun by staying constantly busy? What is waiting for you in the empty space that you are so deeply afraid to face? Is your distraction actually bringing you peace? Or is it just postponing your pain? Stop, breathe, think about that. Do not be afraid of what rises in the quiet. You are not powerless. The next time you are alone and that uncomfortable feeling of restlessness creeps in, do not immediately reach for an escape. Stay in the empty space for just 1 minute. Let the heavy feelings rise. Observe them like clouds drifting across the wide, open sky. Let the feeling exist without making it your entire identity, because you cannot heal what you refuse to feel. True peace begins when you stop treating the quiet as an enemy. But learning to sit in the empty space requires us to unlearn another deeply ingrained illusion. And this is where the next truth begins. 3. The illusion of constant motion. What if the exhausting race you are running has no finish line, and the only way to win is to simply stop running? Here is the truth few people want to face. We mistake movement for progress, and we mistake exhaustion for purpose. We live under the heavy belief that if we are not moving forward, we are falling behind. This mindset infects even our quietest moments. We feel we cannot simply take a walk. We must track our steps. We cannot simply read a book. We must extract a lesson to improve ourselves. We are constantly optimizing, planning, and striving. When we finally get a moment where nothing is required of us, our minds panic because they have forgotten how to simply exist. We feel a deep, unsettling restlessness. We convince ourselves that standing still is a failure, and so we invent new worries to keep the engine running. Buddhist wisdom teaches us about the endless cycle of craving and grasping. We are constantly reaching for the next thing, believing that peace lies just around the corner in some future condition. But one of the deepest lessons of Buddhism is that you cannot reach a place of peace by frantically running toward it. The desire to constantly be somewhere else or achieve something else is the very root of your suffering. Imagine a person who has spent their entire life trying to catch the horizon. They walk for days, then run, then sprint, completely exhausting their body. They deeply believe that if they just move fast enough, They will finally reach that beautiful distant line where the sky meets the earth, and there they will finally rest. But the horizon is not a physical place you can reach. It is merely an illusion of perspective. No matter how fast they run, the horizon always stays exactly the same distance away. In their desperate sprint to reach it, they completely ignore the solid earth and the warm sun right where they are standing. We do this with our lives every single day. We tell ourselves, once I finish this heavy workload, I will relax. Once I reach this financial goal, I will feel secure. Once this conflict is resolved, I can finally breathe. We constantly attach our inner peace to a future condition. But when that moment finally arrives, the horizon simply shifts. The goalpost moves. A new problem appears, and the restless running begins all over again. Ask yourself, what future moment are you waiting for to finally give yourself permission to be at peace? How many times have you reached a goal only to realize the restlessness followed you there? Are you living your life, or are you just rushing through it to get to the end? Stop. Breathe. Let that sink in. You do not have to earn your right to rest. You do not need to justify your existence with constant motion. The next time you feel the restless urge to jump up and find a new task simply because the room is quiet, try this. Pause. Stop trying to force the door open. Let the urge to move rise within you and gently choose to stay exactly where you are. Do your part in life, then release the outcome. Because peace is not a destination you arrive at after all your problems are solved. It is a way of standing perfectly still in the middle of the journey. But to stand still without fear, we must first learn how to let the dust of our lives settle. And this is where the next truth begins. 4. The metaphor of the settling sand. Have you ever noticed that the harder you try to calm your mind, the louder it becomes? Here is a quiet truth about our inner world. When we feel restless, our first instinct is to fight it. We try to force ourselves to relax. We become angry at our own anxiety. We desperately try to control our thoughts, organizing them, wrestling with them, trying to pin them down, so we can finally find a moment of peace. But in doing so, we create a secondary layer of suffering. We are no longer just restless. We are now stressed about being restless. Buddhism teaches us the gentle power of non-resistance. In Buddhist thought, the mind naturally returns to a state of rest if we simply stop interfering. The struggle for control is often the very thing causing the turbulence. When you try to force peace, you are still operating from a place of conflict. Imagine walking to the edge of a clear, gentle river. You want the sandy bottom to be perfectly smooth and flawless. So, you step into the water and begin using your hands to flatten the sand. But every single time you touch it, your fingers kick up clouds of silt. The more frantically you try to smooth the riverbed, the more you agitate the dirt, until the water becomes completely dark and murky. You cannot see through it anymore. You feel frustrated, not realizing that the action of trying to fix the sand is exactly what is disturbing it. The only way to let the sand settle is to pull your hands out of the water and step back. We do exactly this with our emotions. When we feel that quiet restlessness on a slow afternoon, we refuse to let it just be. We try to smooth it out. We dissect it. We analyze our relationships, our career choices, and our perceived failures, searching for a reason why we feel uneasy, but our frantic mental fingers are just kicking up more silt. We think we are solving a problem, but we are actually just clouding the water of our own minds. Ask yourself, what happens when you stop trying to fix your restlessness? What if, instead of trying to silence your uncomfortable thoughts, you simply allowed them to speak without answering back? Are you losing your peace, or are you just trying too hard to control the sand? Stop. Breathe. Think about that. You do not have to fight every feeling that enters your body. You do not need to wrestle your mind into submission. The next time the restlessness arrives, do not jump in to fix it. Pause. Let the feeling rise without making it your identity. Sit by the edge of the river. Allow the thoughts to drift by, undisturbed. Do nothing, and watch how quietly the sand settles on its own. Because true peace is not a state of rigid control. It is a state of gentle release. But even when we learn to stop fighting our thoughts, we often fall into another subtle trap. We start looking outside ourselves for a spark to break the silence. And this is where the next truth begins. 5. The trap of chasing novelty. There is a strange kind of freedom in realizing that excitement is not the same thing as happiness. What if the constant need for something new is exactly what is keeping you so exhausted? Here is a quiet tragedy of modern life. When the days finally settle into a comfortable, predictable rhythm, we often mistake peace for boredom. We feel an uncomfortable itch. We look around at our steady routines, our quiet evenings, and our familiar relationships, and we falsely believe that something is missing. We start looking for a spark to break the silence. We buy things we do not need. We plan the next grand escape before the current one even ends. Sometimes, we even unconsciously start small, unnecessary arguments with the people we love, just to create a rush of emotion, just to feel something intense. We are terrified of the ordinary. We believe that if life is not loud, it is not meaningful. Buddhist wisdom teaches us about the hidden danger of endless craving. We operate under the heavy illusion that the next new experience, the next physical possession, or the next major life change will finally bring us lasting fulfillment. But Buddhism reminds us that this kind of craving is like drinking salt water to cure your thirst. The more you consume, the thirstier you become. When we constantly chase the high of novelty, we make ourselves blind to the profound beauty of the present moment. We confuse intensity with joy. Imagine a wanderer who spends their entire life traveling across oceans and climbing dangerous mountains, desperately searching for the rarest, most beautiful flower in the world. They exhaust their body, looking for brighter colors and sharper scents. They measure the value of their days by how breathtaking the views are. Because they are always looking so far away, they never look down. They never notice the tiny, perfect green shoot growing silently through a crack in the stone right outside their own front door. They miss the quiet miracle of life simply because it does not look like a grand, dramatic event. We do this every day. We scroll endlessly through our screens, looking for a shock of news or a wave of entertainment to make us feel alive. We look at our steady, quiet lives and feel a heavy sense of failure, simply because our days do not look like an epic adventure. We feel behind in life because we are constantly confusing drama with purpose. Ask yourself, think about your own life. Are you rejecting the good things you already have simply because they have become familiar? Are you throwing away your peace because it does not feel exciting enough? What if the joy you are desperately searching for is already here, but it is just too quiet for you to notice? Stop, breathe, let that sink in. You do not need an explosion of excitement to validate your life. The next time you feel the restless urge to escape a perfectly good, ordinary moment, try this. Pause. Notice one simple thing around you: the warmth of the sunlight on the floor, the gentle sound of the wind outside, the feeling of your own breath rising and falling. Let it be enough. Do not ask the moment to entertain you, just exist silently within it. Because true joy does not require a firework, it only requires your open presence. But to truly appreciate this presence, we must learn to stop rejecting the slow, unstructured parts of our day. And this is where the next truth begins. 6. Making space for the ordinary. Most people do not realize that the truest test of inner peace is not how you handle a crisis, but how you handle an ordinary Tuesday. What if the flat, predictable moments of your day are not the obstacles to your happiness, but the very place where it is waiting to be found? Here is a quiet struggle we rarely speak out loud. We are deeply conditioned to live only for the highlights. We measure our worth by the big promotions, the dramatic romances, and the rare, breathless adventures. When our days inevitably settle into a flat, predictable rhythm, waking up, doing the work, returning home, washing the dishes, we feel a creeping, uncomfortable emptiness. We look at the quiet evening and think, is this it? Is this all there is? We feel a heavy, restless urge to escape, believing we are failing at life, simply because our afternoon is unremarkable. We reject the ordinary because it lacks the sharp spike of intensity we have been taught to crave. Buddhism teaches us the profound beauty of mindfulness in the mundane. In Buddhist thought, spiritual awakening is not a sudden lightning strike that rescues you from your daily life. It is the deep, quiet realization that exactly where you are is already enough. There is a deeply rooted lesson in Zen wisdom. Before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. The external tasks of your life do not magically change. What changes is your complete, unresisting presence while doing them. Imagine a vast, open sky. For most of our lives, we only bother to look up when there is a violent thunderstorm, a brilliant rainbow, or a breathtaking sunset. We point to the flashing colors and the roaring thunder and call it meaningful. But the vast majority of the time, the sky is simply a quiet, pale blue, holding a few slow-moving clouds. The sky does not apologize for being ordinary. It does not try to manufacture a storm just to prove it exists. Its profound beauty lies in its quiet consistency. It is the vast, steady space that makes all the weather possible. We treat our lives like we only want the thunderstorm or the sunset. We view our daily commute, the laundry, the simple dinner at the table as annoying obstacles standing in the way of our real life. We rush through them, our minds always somewhere else, completely disconnected from the present. But these ordinary moments are not the waiting room of your life. They are the life itself. When you constantly reject the ordinary, you are rejecting the very substance of your time on earth. Ask yourself, how much of your life have you wished away simply because it was not exciting enough? What are you running toward that is so important you cannot feel the ground beneath your feet right now? What would happen if you stopped waiting for a special event to finally feel alive? Stop. Breathe. Think about that. You do not have to escape your routine to find peace. The next time you are doing something completely mundane, try this gentle practice. Pick one ordinary task, washing a single cup, folding a shirt, or walking to your door. Do not rush through it. Do not distract yourself. Feel the water. Notice the weight of the fabric. Let that simple act be the center of your entire world for just one quiet minute. Because peace is not a grand, dramatic event. It is a quiet acceptance of the moment, exactly as it is. But to fully embrace the ordinary, we must confront one of our deepest, most uncomfortable fears. We must learn how to stop producing. And this is where the next truth begins. 7. The gentle art of doing nothing. What if your deepest exhaustion comes not from how much you are doing, but from your deep-seated belief that you must always be doing something? Here is a heavy burden we carry without even realizing it. We live in a world that equates our fundamental worth with our daily output. If you are not producing, achieving, or improving, you are taught to feel like you are failing. We feel a deep, quiet guilt when we simply rest, and so, even when we try to take a break, we turn the break itself into a task. We read to optimize our minds. We try to master relaxation as if it were a competitive sport. We carry the relentless pressure to succeed into our quietest hours, terrified that if we stop moving, we will lose our value. Buddhist wisdom teaches us the profound power of non-action. In Buddhist thought, you do not need to constantly build, fix, or improve yourself to justify your existence. Your worth is not tied to your utility. One of the deepest lessons of Buddhism is that pure, unforced being is entirely enough. Doing nothing is not an act of laziness. It is a profound form of release from the endless cycle of constantly proving yourself to the world. Imagine a massive, ancient tree standing quietly in a wide field. In the spring, it bursts with green leaves. In the summer, it provides deep, cool shade. But in the dead of winter, its branches are entirely bare. It produces no fruit. It creates no shade. It simply stands in the freezing wind, silent and still. Yet, no one looks at the winter tree and calls it a failure. No one demands that it force itself to bloom in the snow. It is simply resting, gathering strength deep within its roots, doing absolutely nothing on the surface. Yet, we do not grant ourselves the quiet grace of the winter tree. We expect ourselves to bloom constantly in every single season of our lives. We bring this relentless pressure into our evenings and our weekends. If we spend an hour simply sitting in a chair, watching the light move across the wall, we feel a creeping sense of panic. We feel behind in life, convinced we have wasted precious time that should have been spent climbing higher. Ask yourself, think about your own life. Whose voice is speaking when you feel guilty for resting? What are you trying to prove by staying constantly busy? And who are you trying to prove it to? Is this constant need to produce bringing you peace, or is it quietly burning you to the ground? Stop, breathe. Let that sink in. You are a human being, not a machine. You do not need to earn your right to sit quietly on this earth. The next time you sit down and feel the overwhelming guilt of unproductivity, do not immediately jump back up to find a task. Let the guilt rise. Observe the thought without following it. Realize that it is just a heavy, conditioned habit, not the truth of your worth. Give yourself permission to be completely unscripted for 10 minutes. Let the world spin without your help, because peace is not the reward for finishing all your work. It is the deep realization that you were worthy of rest before the work even began. But to fully surrender to this stillness, we must understand the deepest truth about where lasting joy actually lives. And this is where the final truth begins. 8. The joy that does not move. Think back to the feeling we spoke about at the very beginning. That quiet, unexplainable panic that sets in when nothing dramatic is happening. The restlessness that whispers you should be doing something, fixing something, or chasing something else. For so long, you have lived under the illusion that peace is a place you will eventually arrive at once all the storms have been defeated. You have spent your life acting as the exhausted sailor, fighting the violent waves, believing that if you just survive this next crisis, you will finally earn the right to rest. But as you have seen, when the calm waters finally appear, the addiction to the storm remains. The fear of the empty space takes over. You agitate the sand to feel in control, and you chase the bright lights of novelty because you are terrified of the ordinary. But here is the final truth. The peace you have been desperately searching for is not hiding in the next exciting event, and it is not waiting at the end of a completed checklist. It is already here, resting quietly underneath the noise of your own mind. Buddhist wisdom teaches us about the unshakable center of our being. In Buddhism, true joy is not dependent on external conditions. It does not require a spike of adrenaline or a surge of drama. It is often compared to the deepest part of the ocean. On the surface, the water is constantly moving. Storms roll in, heavy winds create massive, crashing waves, and the weather changes by the hour. But if you dive deep enough, far below the surface, the water is perfectly still. The deep ocean is not disturbed by the chaos above. It simply exists, vast, quiet, and unbroken. Your mind has been living on the surface. You have tied your happiness to the shifting weather of your daily life. You have believed that you must control the waves, smooth the riverbed, and chase the horizon to feel secure. But the profound realization of letting go is understanding that you do not need to control the weather at all. You are not just the waves. You are the deep water. Think about that. What if you stopped waiting for your life to become perfectly exciting or flawlessly resolved before you allowed yourself to feel joy? What if you simply let the ordinary moments be ordinary? What if you let the quiet room just be quiet, without filling it with the heavy noise of your worries? You do not have to fight your own stillness anymore. You can stop frantically swimming against the current of the present moment. You can let the heavy mud settle. You can allow the winter tree to stand bare in the snow without demanding that it bloom. The restlessness will still come. The urge to panic in the quiet will occasionally return, but you do not have to listen to it. You can observe it, breathe through it, and let it pass like a solitary cloud drifting across a wide, open sky. You can finally make space for the kind of joy that does not move, the kind of peace that does not ask you to run. Let life meet you exactly where you are. Stop trying to pry open the doors of tomorrow. Do your part, release the outcome, and trust that the stillness is not an empty trap. It is a sanctuary. If these lessons touched your heart, share this video with someone who may need a little more peace today. You can let go now.